Okay, I got kicked off too. That's so interesting. Um, let's see what's here. Come on back on. Um, so Dalia, come on back on. I got kicked off. We all got kicked off. It's so interesting. I don't know why it happened, but there's always a first for everything. So we'll just keep going on. It's all good. It's all good. Um, so Dalia, I really wanted to sort of delve a little bit more. Here we are. Welcome to technology. Doesn't always work exactly the way we want it to, so it's all good. I wanted to hear a little bit more from you about how you come to this space and how I mean, it's clear that you've done a lot of work and thinking about the way this specific way the Megillah relates to people in a fertility journey. How do you what is your background like? Tell me a little bit more about yourself and why this is all meaningful for you.
Sure. So I can really relate to the idea of like having to force happiness and put on a face, in a public place. My husband's a pulpit rabbi, so I was very much in the public eye. And when we were going through our fertility journey, we weren't sharing it with anybody. I didn't want anyone in the congregation to know because I didn't want to go through an extensive series of advice and questions and probing what's going on. I just really wanted to go through it in private, and then afterwards to kind of reflect and share suggestions of how the community can be supportive to people going through that experience, which is how I came to be one of the co-founders of Uprooted. But as I was going through it, if we weren't going to let people know, then I needed to consistently put on a happy face. I needed to go in on Purim and be happy, even as somebody asked me if I was going to dress up in a special costume that would look really good on somebody who was pregnant. I had to just keep smiling and say, oh, no, not this year. Haha. And experiences like that. So I can really relate to this idea of feeling the need to be hidden. And I also feel like the idea of Hester Esther Panay, of God saying, I'm going to be hidden in this moment. I felt that a lot through my journey. I wonder, where is God? What is going on here? How can I relate to God during this moment of feeling that God is just hidden from me and not hearing all of my tefillah, all of my prayers, and not really knowing where to turn.
Yeah, I think that the Purim story specifically, that's exactly it. It's this having to put on this face and having to be presentable for everyone else, and yet having this deep-seated secret inside, the way Esther did, where she nobody knew that she was Jewish and nobody knew. And there's even someone else who's also commenting that she also kept it private as well, that it was her private time to heal. And that's exactly right. I think that what we all in this space, that all of us who are working here, try to give people tools to help them to be able to try to figure out the best way to deal with the challenges in their own lives. And we don't tell people what to do, but we offer them suggestions as to different kinds of support. Yeah. And I know that your pieces are, because of your own personal experience, are so very valuable, and they really relate to so many of the pieces that lots of other people are going through as well.
Thank you.
Do you have any other suggestions before I bring Naomi on? Do you have any other suggestions for people based on your own experiences or things that you've pulled from the kinds of studying that you've done? Other suggestions for people during this time of year?
Thank you. Well, one thing I would say that might be related specifically to this time of year, but also could apply universally, is that I was always having to hide what was going on, and I didn't have a community where I could be open. So I think for many people, you might not be sharing your journey publicly, or there might be people with whom you don't want to share what you're going through, and so you put on a face, but then also making sure that you have people with whom you can just be completely open, and you can really tell what's going on and have an honest experience, so that you're not going through the journey alone and you don't feel the isolation. That's also a big part of why we wanted to do this gathering and why we started Uprooted, was so people would not have to go through this alone, whether they're going through it publicly or privately. That's their personal choice. So I think finding those connections, whether it's online or whether it's having a mentor or anything like that, can really make a big difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's exactly why all of your programming exists, why my programming exists, and so many
Right.
other organizations on the ground also doing this work just to try to help people feel less alone. Um,
Yeah.
Dalia, thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome. I'm gonna click you out, and
Sure.
everybody just stay around. We're gonna bring Naomi back on in 1 second. Just stay around. Hopefully this is all gonna work seamlessly the way we practice. So, okay, thank you, Dalia.
Thank you.
Here we go. Okay, so that was Dalia from Uprooted. And now we're also going to have Naomi Less come on. Naomi, Dalia, and also Becca Shimshak are the three founders of Uprooted. And I wanted to, we're going to bring here, Naomi's going to come on right now. And I wanted to bring both of them on, Naomi and Dalia on, so that they could each bring their different viewpoints. Here she is. Bring their different viewpoints and their thoughts about Purim to all of you. Thank you for coming, Naomi. All of us really appreciate it. And we had a little technological snafu, but hopefully that will not happen here. Talk to me, tell me what your thoughts are about Purim.
I mean, it's a toughie. Dalia and I were, we were talking about it. Purim's a double whammy for me because I also lost my mother during Purim. So the reality of like hearing the Marbim B'Simcha, like just to me, I was less gracious than Dalia was of turning it up one notch. Like I was like, no, you can take your Purim and you can, put it somewhere else. So, so it's a challenging, but certainly with every full moon, with every moon cycle, the incessant reminder of how much time is passing is just, it's brutal for people. So to me, I love Dalia's approach around this. I see a lot of hearts there. Yep. It's true. And I do love this approach of self-care. And that's why Dalia and I are such a good match, because she will talk me off the cliff and bring these beautiful practices in. And I will talk back to the text in a more, more Rebecca kind of a way, where she kind of like, really challenged.
Right. And you know what? That I think is the beauty of Judaism, right? Like there's a room for everything here. There's room to feel supported by the text and supported by the liturgy. And there's also room, like one of the foundations of the Gemara is this constant questioning, the questioning. That is one of the tenets of our religion, is the constant questioning. And we know that we're not always given good. We're given things that are difficult. We're given things that are challenges, and we don't know why, and we don't know how, and we don't know when, but we are given these challenges. And the question is, some people, it's easier for them to sort of sit back and say, okay, that's fine. God did this and God is in charge, and fine. And for lots and lots of others, frankly, including myself, I got mad. I got really mad.
I mean, I will say yes. And the two things that come to me around Purim, aside from like the time period and how challenging it is, on a similar note, I kind of like take the Mordechai approach of like, who knows why you were put in this position? Maybe, nobody asks for fertility challenges. My personal theology is that I don't believe that I was given this issue by any divine being, that this is just my circumstances, and the spirituality pieces of this are what I do with it. And my healing and because of the makeup of who I am, because I'm an outspoken person, I'm an artist, that I felt that I could actually speak about it, where like Dalia, as she shared, she did not want anybody to know. She wanted to walk this path, with her husband privately, without people sticking their nose in. I took the polar opposite approach. I don't want to suffer alone. Everybody should come down the tubes with me, quite literally. To me, it was like, all right, well, if I'm the kind of person that that feels comfortable enough to share, then what am I going to do with this? What's my Esther moment? And I came out about my journey, and I started advocating, and I did an Eli talk, which are basically these Jewish TED Talks on fertility challenges. And Becca and Dalia and I knew each other for years and years and years. And I asked them, could I help? Could I join in the work? So to me, there's one Purim piece of this for my personal journey, which is like, who knows why I was put in this position? Maybe it was to do something about it. Right. The second piece that is important for me around Purim is the mask piece, like the hiding of the face. To me, there's another side, there's a shadow side, and there's many different takes on masks and why people wear masks. And there's many, many good reasons why people need to wear that mask. And Dalia alluded to some of this, that there are some pieces around hiding that are important too. And then there are also, sometimes masks can also prevent us from being a more positive, version of ourselves. There may be a mask that we need to wear, and then there may be a mask that we need to get to the point of hafuchba, that everything is topsy turning. We got to take that mask off in a way. And so I feel that my journey was like, I took the mask off,
And do you think at the time, was the Jewish community receptive to the fact that your mask was off? Was it not receptive?
Yeah. Well, I work primarily in a more progressive area of the Jewish community, so I can only speak to that piece of the Jewish community. But I would say, yes. I mean, individuals, clergy, lay folk, organizations, just people were very appreciative that I was sharing my story. People came out of the woodwork to share with me privately, to share with me publicly on Facebook their journeys, to tell me, thank you for helping me to be seen. Did not come without some challenges. Like Dalia's fears were realized, which is like, I got a ton of advice and I was like, thank you, no thanks.
Right.
Everything you could
the oversharing piece.
And a lot of that stuff is actually through interviews that we've done and through our own personal stories, that kind of advice is actually present in our show Trimester that's going to be performed live in Minneapolis on March 22nd. And literally there's a litany of you'll crack up, and also it's terrible when you're going through it, but you could probably list the entire dialogue that we have in the show.
Yes, right. I'm sure everybody in the audience could do that. Exactly.
We should just start listing all the advice that everybody gave you right now. Just put them in the comments right now. There's a line in the show that's they say Tuesdays are the best day to get pregnant, and then my counterpart says, no, I think it's Saturdays. It's just, here we go. Let's see.
My journey with infertility, cancer, hysterectomy has been challenging. I kept it a secret the whole year. It was very tough. My extended family didn't take it well, and my Instagram followers celebrated.
Wow.
That's often what happens. I mean, I think sort of the beauty of Instagram is the fact that you can have this incredibly rich and very beautiful dialogue with so many people about your struggles. And what's great about it is the fact that there's a level of an anonymity in there, where that people don't necessarily need to reveal their true selves. And it's the people that are around them in real life that don't know how to handle it. And I think that it's one of the beauties of social media. Social media has so many downfalls, but it is one of the beauties here that there is a sense of community here where people can get that kind of support.
That's the positive mask.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That the mask can stay on, but yet you can still get the support.
Yeah.
Do you, what do you think if you had to go back and sort of do it again, or your advice for people here and here now in today's day and age, what would your advice be for them, over the holiday of Purim, and then just in general in terms of mask on, mask off, within the community, outside of the community? Any thoughts about that?
I mean, I would say, first of all, I will underscore and echo Dalia's self-care piece. I think every holiday is going to hit people in different ways when you're on a fertility journey. Also, it could be like a yahrzeit could hit people in different ways, or Thanksgiving, or just any sort of connective piece, connective tissue around family, around loss, around time passing, may hit people in different kinds of ways. And so in that space, my personal practice would be to anticipate and to form the circle that you need around that time period. So for example, and again, I know I'm talking about my mother passing away, but basically she passed away in March 2016. And I had an egg donation IVF. It was after a 7-year journey. It's a whole long story. We all have our stories, but my mom died in March 2016. My daughter was born October 2017. So the Mother's Day after my mom died, when I was pregnant, it was like I was worried about it for months. I mean, literally for months. I was like, how am I going to get through? And then my first Mother's Day, when I had my daughter, I was bereft, and I knew it was coming. And I basically did a couple things to help myself. I said to folks on Facebook and Instagram, you will not see me here this Sunday. like I'm on a hiatus. And I actually stayed off Sunday and Monday. So I would kind of miss the onslaught of reminders. I made plans. I did like a cyber brunch with another friend of mine who lost her mother. So all that is to say, and I'm talking about loss of a parent, which is a whole different story, but I think there's a similar piece here. That's some of what the Roots program that we're launching in Minneapolis and that's in Boston is about, which is gathering folks around, like anticipating going into these holidays, like Purim, like fill in the blank, knowing that there's such a pediatric emphasis on those holidays, there's such a family emphasis on those holidays. And so to gather with people who are kind of in it together, though they're on different journeys, and to be able to celebrate in ways that feel appropriate for them. That would be sort of my advice. It's like to know yourself and to know what you're going to need and to anticipate it and make it happen. Like you can do this for yourself. And a way of doing it for yourself could be, I can't do this, somebody help me, So that's also okay.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's absolutely spot on. Excellent advice. It's about knowing who you are. It's about knowing what you need. It's about knowing what you also can handle, and then reaching out for support, or reaching out and saying, this is not happening this year. I'm not happening. And I'm just going to stick to myself, and I'm going to stick to the people I need. And it's not happening for me this year. And all of those things are okay. And I think for everyone, this is really, these are ideas and these are concepts and these are thoughts for you to try to take pieces of, if you can, and bring them into your own life as you walk into this holiday that's coming up, knowing that you know exactly what to expect. There's going to be a lot of publicness. There's going to be a lot of children. There's going to be a lot of revelry and fun and a lot of gathering. You decide what works for you. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Right. And if it does work, great. You figure out what works for you and say yes or say no. And I think that's really the lesson and the idea that we're all trying to give over. You were about to say something.
No, I mean, you made me think about, so I'm a ritual leader in a progressive Jewish community. And there was a certain point where I just said to my colleagues, to my co-ritual leaders, I said, I'm off of baby namings for the time being.
Right.
Can't do it anymore. Cannot subject myself to this. This is torture. This is pain. And I also kind of avoided going to them as well, too, at a certain point. So, and then I tapped back in, it's okay. It's okay to take care of yourself. I mean, I think that's the message here too. And that could be a message for Purim as well too, is like, do you need to really turn yourself upside down in order to see, like, what is it that I really need? Like, what is my truth that I actually really need to manifest getting through this process in the least painful, most healing, most supportive way.
Absolutely. And each person should decide whether the mask stays on or whether the mask comes off or whether the mask is half on or a quarter on. Each person should decide what works for them. Period. That's it. That's
there's a little rock on the side of my bed that I was doing this amazing women's artistic workshop, and it's a whole long thing. But the end of it was we ended up writing on a rock from some sort of meditative thing that we did around a mantra for ourselves. And what kept coming into my head was like the words, why not? Like, why couldn't it happen? Whatever it was, why couldn't I become a mom? And at a certain point, it turned to positivity. And it is very aligned with a line that we say every Dala that's part of the Megillah. It's a mantra that I've used. And again, anything that comes out of my mouth, people like throw out or take whatever they, whatever.
absolutely.
Don't
Yep.
take anybody's advice that doesn't feel comfortable with you. But the line, La Yehudim, there's a song that I sang to myself that my friend Rabbi Noam Katz wrote. And how do you feel? Can I share it?
Sure.
I can just share a little piece of it. So
Yeah.
it basically says like for the Jewish people, there was light,
La Yehudim ha'ita ora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar.
Yeah. And then the next line is King Tia Lanu. Let it be for us as well too. Let it be. So so I kind of use that as a mantra for myself of like, my goodness, if all the crap that's happened to the Jewish people over the centuries, over that period of time, whether you think that story is a myth or actually happened, doesn't matter. We've had enough of our source over the centuries. Like the fact that we can have joy still, that we can bring that joy is still here for our people. Like came Tia Lanu, let it be for us, but like let it be for me as well too. So I'll share a little sec. So it goes.
Beautiful.
La Yehudim, Hai Torah, Hai Taora, V'simcha, V'sason, V'ikar. La Yehudim, Hai Taora, Hai Taora, V'simcha, V'sason, Vikar. Came Tielanu, Tielanu, Tielanu. Okay, Tielanu, Tielanu. Tielanu.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you, Dalia Davis, and Naomi Less from Uprooted. Happy Purim, everyone. And take what you need, do what you need, give what you need, and self-care, self-care, self-care. Happy Purim. Happy Purim.